Hey y'all, I got an anime channel called Mystic Sage, where I do anime top 10s, speculations, and more. You can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch to keep up to date with me, the channel, and even for some entertainment. Links will be in the description below. Thanks guys, enjoy the video. This seems like the perfect place to plot my roots down and continue the trip through different typings of the best team for grass types. At this point, you guys have a good idea of the rules, so you'll know how things go, but I'll mention it all again. A Pokemon can only appear once on one of these teams, so you might not end up seeing Ludicolo on this team, but you could still see it on the best team for water types down the line. A big thing to mention for you all to keep in mind, as always, is that these typing teams should be viewed more as theme teams to have decent fun with, rather than something you should take into monotype tier. Also, Pokemon Sword and Shield released yesterday. That means I have a final rule to include, and that is with this best team as well as a few more to come in the upcoming weeks. There will be no 8th gen Pokemon included. Considering how many typings I've done already without including Gen 8 Mons, it wouldn't make sense for me to do with the last few teams of them, but I'm sure it'll be something to revisit in the future. So let's get started with the usual suspect, our Mega Pokemon. I had a decent amount of options to choose from when needing a Grass-type Mega, but it was pretty obvious to me who the best of the bunch was, and that's Mega Venusaur. As we know, all 3 Kanto starters receive Mega Evolutions, and I honestly think Mega Venusaur might be the best of the 4 different ones. Mega Venusaur gains a new ability thanks to its transformation, and it is incredibly useful. Thick Fat significantly lowers the amount of damage Venusaur will take from 2 of its weaknesses, and Fire and Ice by cutting the attacking Pokemon's attack stat in half when it uses one of those moves. Mega Venusaur has got some seriously good stats, all 4 of its physical and special ones being base 100 or higher. There are options on what to do with Venusaur when it comes to what sort of an attacker it'll be, but I'll be focusing on the higher stat here and making Venusaur a special attacker. I didn't want to bother upping its already high, decently bulky defenses, so I gave the 252 EVs a special attack and speed, and employ the Timid Nature to drive the speed to 284, and of course a special attack to 343. Venusaur's natural bulk and that great special attack really helps cement it as being, in my opinion, the best of the Gen 1 Megas. Mega Venusaur's moveset will be Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain, Growth, and Leech Seed. Sludge Bomb is definitely the strongest attack that Mega Venusaur has to work with. A base 90 power move that boosts up to 135 of stab and offers a 30% chance to poison the target. It's going to be a great move to turn to if you have to face off with flying and fire types, though as always I'd recommend turning to a different Pokemon on this team when dealing with a type of disadvantage, especially the flying type in this instance. Giga Drain is next, and that move is for the sake of healing while also doing damage. It's going to have a stab boosted 112 base power, and Venusaur will get back 50% of the damage it does in health, so the opportunity to heal plenty of health if you're in against the right kind of Pokemon is a pretty nice one. The next move is Growth, and that is for setup, giving Venusaur a 1-stage boost in its attack and special attack when used. The move has its own chance to be boosted though, as when the sun is up it causes a 2-stage boost, and you better believe that I have a Pokemon coming up that takes advantage of that to help make a Venusaur become even stronger. But even then, just one normal non-boosted Growth will make Venusaur's special attack shoot up to 514, so it's going to be a good bit of setup regardless. The final move in this set is Leech Seed, and it's here to cause residual damage while also guaranteeing Venusaur will regain health at the end of each turn. Leech Seed will take away about 1/8 of the opponent's health every time it activates, and that will definitely aid in helping take out opposing Pokemon quickly, while allowing you to keep Venusaur on the field for an extended period of time. The next Pokemon on this team is keeping it right in the first generation, and it's the Pokemon I consider to be Venusaur's best friend, Vileplume. Vileplume is going to be holding the Heat Rock, thus making it the source of sun that we were looking for to help out Venusaur's growth, so it can get that doubling of its special attack. In general, Vileplume isn't exactly the most exciting Pokemon, but I did my absolute best to make it into a fantastic support Pokemon that fits in with the rest of the squad. I know what you might be thinking, why would I use a Pokemon with such a poor speed like Vileplume as a supporter? Well, that's because it has an ability like Chlorophyll, which will double its speed in the sun. Effect Spore is also a very solid ability for Vileplume to have, but in the case of the team we're building here, Chlorophyll was definitely the more optimal ability to use. A base 110 special attack definitely helps build up Vileplume's stock as well, as it allows it to not only offer support, but also fight for itself if it needs to. The 252 EVs are going to be given to the speed and special attack stat as well as the modest nature. With all those boosts thrown in, Vileplume is now going to have 199 speed and 350 special attack, and I've got the moves to take advantage of those stats. Vileplume's moveset will open up with Sunny Day and then be followed by Solar Beam, Moonblast, and Strength Sap. Sunny Day is going to be the headlining move, as it'll put up a sun and create a weather condition that both Venusaur and Vileplume can feast on. Thanks to the Heat Rock, the effects of Sunny Day will last for 8 full turns instead of just 5, so you have plenty of time to get into Venusaur and set up Growth, so you can double its great special attack and start to destroy the opponent's team. Though if you'd like to, you can stay in on Vileplume too, now that its speed will be doubled to just below 400, and you can get off a powerful boosted 180 base power move of Solar Beam. Solar Beam would normally take 2 turns to actually use, but with the sun up, it'll be used automatically, so all Vileplume's impressive 350 special special attack will be on display. Moonblast and its 95 base power are next, bringing to the table a 30% chance to lower the target's special attack by a stage. Moonblast is great to have for dragon types who resist this team's grass types, and it's just a really powerful coverage move in general that hits a lot of different types of Pokemon really hard. Strength Sap will close out this set, and it will be an easy way for Vileplume to gain health back while also crippling physical attackers. Strength Sap lowers the opponent's attack stat by a stage while also recovering health equal to that of the attack stat the opponent has at the time of the move being used. If you manage to get a strength stat off on a Mega Heracross, you should expect to completely fill your HP back up even if you're just barely hanging out with a single point. We've got to go across Tojo Falls for this one and enter Johto to present Celebi as the next Pokemon on this team. Celebi is a fan favorite and one of the most well-rounded Pokemon out there with 100 stats across the board. I know I like Celebi quite a bit, and I ended up deciding to take advantage of it as a special attacker, much like the Pokemon featured before it on this team. Celebi actually has a pretty great ability too of Natural Cure, meaning it's going to lose whatever status element it has when it switches out. So with 100 base stats across the board, that means Celebi is going to maintain some solid defenses and a good amount of HP, and I can focus on giving it 252 EVs in special attack and speed, as well as a timid nature. Those boosts will put the special attack at 299 and speed it through 28. That's not all though, since we've got an item to give Celebi, and it's going to be the choice specs. With the choice specs, Celebi will be locked into whatever move it chooses to use, but in return it'll end up seeing its special attack boosted to 598, and that is pretty tremendous. We're going to need a good moveset with lots of options to take advantage of that high special attack, and I think I've assembled a pretty diverse one. Psychic, Energy Ball, Earth Power, and Shadow Ball are what round out this moveset of Celebi's, and with it you've got coverage for plenty of threats. Psychic was a no-brainer to include as it takes advantage of some stab, having a boosted 135 base attack and a 10% chance to lower the opponent's defenses by a stage. It's going to be great in defending against poison types, and in general is a fantastic move to face off with plenty of different Pokemon that an opponent could send out. Energy Ball is another good move that will give you another nice stab boosted 135 base power move that also has a 10% chance to lower special defense. Both of these moves are great to use as just neutral damage attacks, but offer a decent amount of coverage as well against the multitude of different typings. Earth Power is next, and it's another strong 90 base power move that will cover against steel types that stab moves just can't handle. Oh yeah, and there's another 10% chance to lower the opponent's special defense, just adding on to the theme. Finally, there is Shadow Ball, and that's a base 80 move that will give you coverage against ghost types that deal super effective damage as well as other psychic types. The only real difference in this move from the other three is that now you've got a 20% chance to lower the opponent's special defense instead of just 10. All these moves are strong and provide coverage, but I also wanted to have that secondary effect of lowering special defense to make it hit even harder. This Celebi has got a great opportunity to be a mid-game sweeper after you've already started picking away at the rest of the team, and it's fantastic. How about we follow up Celebi with the Triplicino and find ourselves a Pokemon to use from one of the many new evolutions of prior Pokemon that were introduced in the 4th generation. I think the best one I could possibly select for a team like this has got to be Tangela's evolution, Tangrowth. Tangrowth is an absolute unit, and it's got the build of a physically defensive wall that will fit in that role nicely. As a matter of fact, I've actually given it the Assault Vest to help bump up a rather low 50 base special defense. With the Assault Vest, Tangrowth's special defense will leap up to 204 and give it a chance to survive some possibly special attacks from fire and ice types. If it takes some damage though, there will be an option switch on out and gain some health back thanks to the regenerate ability, which will indeed be the one I run on this Tangrowth. It actually has 2 other abilities directly connected to having the Sun Up in Chlorophyll and Leaf Guard, but neither of those is useful as Regenerator actually is. So we've already got a great defense at 125, which leads to 286 in the stat, and base 100 in attack along with 110 in special attack. They give us a good opportunity to choose which sort of attacker we want Tangrowth to be. Well, in this case, we're going to make it a physical attacker, since we've been so low to the special attackers throughout this team already. I gave it 252 EVs in HP to bump that up to 404 so it could get some health bulk to work with its defenses, and another 252 in both attack along with the adamant nature to bring that up to 328. The only truly bad thing about this Tangrowth is its very poor speed stat, but seeing as we managed to make just about every other stat pretty good, it's alright to sacrifice speed in this instance. Tangrowth's moveset is Knockoff, Seed Bomb, Rock Slide, and Earthquake, combining to make up a set that offers both power and coverage. Knockoff opens the moveset, and it's purely here to be disruptive to the opponent, multiplying the damage done to them by 1.5 times if they're holding an item while also removing the item from the rest of the battle altogether. It's a very useful move to have on hand and can really just force an opponent to change up their whole strategy going forward. Seed Bomb is next and is a stat boosted base 120 power move that will be a basic move to turn into battle against Pokemon that don't do super effective damage to Tangrowth. Though if you're in against a Pokemon that does do super effective damage, there's a pretty good chance that Rock Slide will be able to take them out. Rock Slide is base 75 power and has a 30% chance to flinch the opponent, but has a 90% accuracy, so it's not perfect. However, it's going to be super effective against fire, ice, flying, and bug type moves, which all can do super effective damage to Tangrowth, so it's important to have a move like it available. Earthquake is last, but certainly not least, and it's a very powerful base 100 power move that will cover the final weakness that Tangrowth would actually have to worry about, poison types. Those last 2 moves are extremely important to include and set up Tangrowth to be an absolutely annoying wall for anyone to have to deal with regardless of if they have the type advantage over it or not. Coming up next on this team is Ferrothorn. It is one of the Pokemon that keeps Tangrowth from actually being the wall on this team. Some people see Ferrothorn as being one of the most important competitive Pokemon back during the 5th generation's run, and it's hard to deny that. It's an absolutely annoying physical wall that will hurt you if you try to strike it directly and can set up almost every damaging hazard under the sun. Unless they're set up with a nice special attacking fire move, most people have an annoying time dealing with Ferrothorn, and that annoyance spot it a spot on this team. When it comes to abilities, there is only one right decision when talking about Ferrothorn, and it isn't anticipation. No, instead it is the Iron Barb's ability, which causes any Pokemon who makes contact with Ferrothorn to lose 1/8 of their max HP. If that wasn't bad enough though, I gave Ferrothorn the Rocky Helmet item to cause the opponent to lose 1/6 of their damage when they make contact on an attack, resulting in the opponent losing 1/4 of their HP every time they attack Ferrothorn with a physical move. Devastating damage aside, you can also make things even worse for the opponent by bumping up Ferrothorn's defense even more, making it an impossible thought to try and defeat it with physical moves. What we'll be doing should be pretty obvious at this point, giving 252 EVs to defense and HP, with the relaxed nature turned into lower Ferrothorn's speed some more. The boost given from the EVs in nature put its difference at a very high 397 and HP at 352, meaning we've definitely given it the bulk it needs to make it almost impossible to defeat unless you're a special attacker, and even then it still has a solid 268 special defense. As for Ferrothorn's moves, it's going to be taking its great defenses and ability to harm its attackers and adding install tactics to truly turn the annoyance style above a 10. Leech Seed, Toxic, Protect, and Gyro Ball are the 4 moves it will be bringing into battle, and if you're already shaking at the point of having to face off against a Pokemon like this, I couldn't blame you. Leech Seed is important to immediately set up so you can have a constant stream of HP coming in, so you can continue to take hits and deal damage to physical attackers, while also allowing you to heal if you do indeed run into a special attacking Pokemon that may have your number. Toxic is going to be set up on all Pokemon that can be poisoned, allowing you to sit back and watch them slowly faint while they struggle to find a way to take you out. Protect goes hand in hand with the previous 2 moves, as you're going to spend a turn taking no damage at all, and instead reaping the benefits of Leech Seed while also seeing the opponent lose more health thanks to the harsh poison they're dealing with. Finally, just in case you've run into a taunt user, we've got Gyro Ball, which does a lot of damage depending on how much slower the user is than its target. Remember, we lowered Ferrothorn's already horrible speed down to 40, so almost every single other Pokemon out there is going to be outspeeding it, and most by a pretty large margin. So this would be a good move to turn to if you have no choice and don't want to switch out from Ferrothorn after the taunt. Something like a Charizard or Salazzle is the ultimate enemy for a Ferrothorn, but those aren't exactly common to run into when out and about battling. So there's a pretty good chance that you could end up getting a few Rage Quit victories when turning to Ferrothorn in the future. Finally, we're going to close this team out with a trip to the sunny shores of Ulu Ulu Island in Alola and call upon the powerful Tabulu to join us. Tabulu is an incredibly strong physical attacker, and I personally was excited to include it on the team as behind Kartana is definitely the strongest grass type in all of Alola. Not only is it a strong physical attacker, but it's got a solid 115 base physical defense, as well as joining the other few Pokemon on this team that can take it pretty well. Tabulu's ability Grassy Surge creates the effects of grassy terrain, and that means all Pokemon will gain back a 16th of their HP at the end of the turn, and the power of all grass type moves will be boosted by 1.5 times, making the stab of Tabulu and the rest of this team even better. Since we're wanting to make use of this 130 base attack on Tabulu, I decided to give it the Life Orb as well, so that its moves will continue to hit even harder at the cost of just 10% of its HP each time. I decided to put 252 EVs into HP and speed, and use a Jolly Nature to bring the stats up to a grand total of 359 and 273 respectively. And that sets up Tabulu to be this team's hardest hitting physical attacker. We've got Wood Hammer, Horn Leech, Zen Headbutt, and Brick Break here, and each move brings a nice bit of help for our Guardian Deity. Wood Hammer is the big nuclear bomb type of move that we sometimes have in these teams, and it's going to have a stab, Life Orb, and Grassy Terrain boosted 351 base power. The move will cost you 33% of your HP with recoil, as well as another 10% from the Life Orb thrown in, but even with all the damage done, you'll have Horn Leech to get some of that health back. Horn Leech will get the same boost as Wood Hammer, and end up at 219 base power, and you can pretty much be guaranteed you'll do plenty of damage with it, and gain 50% of that damage as HP. So in tandem with Horn Leech, you can use Wood Hammer to varying degrees of success. Zen Headbutt is next, and has a 20% chance to flinch the opponent, but it's mainly to cover for Tabulu's biggest weakness, the poison type. You'll more than likely be able to handle most poison types, but I would suggest having Ferrothorn out as a precautionary. The last move is Brick Break, and that's for the steel types that also threaten Tabulu because of its fairy typing. It's a good move to use against a few other Pokemon too, who may try to set up screens, but it's mostly there for steel types and ice types. I didn't include much of anything for fire and flying types because I figured there was already enough coverage for them on some of the previous Pokemon, so everything should be fine there. Tabulu can easily come in after one certain threat of a Pokemon is removed from the battle and just sweep up the opponent, so make sure you don't sleep on its usefulness. That is going to do it for the best team for grass types. I know it's a really hype time right now with Sword and Shield having just been released, but I hope you guys were still just as into this team as always. I want to hear back from you guys though, so let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you use it, let me know how it goes. Would you guys do anything differently? Is there any Pokemon you'd rather see on the team that wasn't included? Let me know everything in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream a lot of Pokemon content and all kinds of other Nintendo content like Zelda, Fire Emblem, and much more. Want to support me further in game called Perks? Check out my Patreon. Daniel Leone, Lady Crimson, Memory Martin, The Lazy Leo, Matthew Young, Austin Lega, Jarrett Weiss Austin, Sodden Grider, and Enigma97 did, and I want to thank them personally for going above and beyond. It means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mr. Gumbrand, and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.